Okay, now we are going to discuss about Part C question in April 2015, University questions of computer architecture. So 20th question, explain the various possible states that define an instruction execution. Solution of list and briefly define the possible states. First step, instruction address calculation. IAC, we determine the address of the next instruction to be executed. And number 2, instruction fetch IF, read instruction from its memory location into the processor. Number 3, instruction operation decoding. IOD, analyze instruction to determine type of operation to be performed and operands to be used. These things you can see in this below diagram. And next, number 4, operand address calculations. OSC, if the operation involves reference to an operand in memory or available via IO, then determine the address of the operand. And number 5, operand fetch, OF, fetch the operand from memory or read it from IO. Number 6, data operation, DO, perform the operation indicated in the instruction. Number 7, operand store OS, write the result into memory or out to IO. Next, we are going for second question, number 21. Explain detail with necessary sketches the RAID schemes. So RAID is a technology that is used to increase the performance and or reliability of data storage. Number 2, the abbreviation stands for redundant array of independent disks. Number 3, a RAID system consists of 2 or more drives working in parallel. RAID level 0, stripping. In RAID level 0, system data are split into blocks, then written across the drives in the array. RAID number 0 offers great performance both in read and write operation. There is no overhead caused by priority controls. Disadvantages, RAID 0 is not full tolerant. So the diagrammatical representation of RAID 0, you can see it here in the below diagram. Next, RAID level 1. Data are stored twice by writing them to both the data drive and a mirror drive. Advantages, RAID 1 offers excellent read speed and write speed. RAID 1 is a very simple technology. So the diagrammatical representation of RAID 1 you can see in the below diagram. So next we are going for RAID level 2. And RAID level 2, so in RAID level 2 it will be different concepts when compared to RAID 1 and RAID 0 and RAID 1. Okay. So next is RAID level 5. RAID 5 is the most common secure RAID level. It requires at least 3 drives but can work in up to 16. This means a RAID 5 array can withstand a single drive failure without losing data or access to data. So advantage of RAID 5 is read data transactions are very fast while write data transactions are slower. If a drive fails, you still have to all data even while the failed drive is being replaced. Disadvantage, drive failure have an effect on throughput. So this is a diagrammal representation of RAID 5. Next we are going for RAID level 6, stripping with double priority. RAID 6 is like RAID 5, but the priority data are written to 2 drives. Advantages, like with RAID 5, read data transactions are very fast. Disadvantage, write data transactions are slower than RAID 5. Drive failures have an effect on throughput. So this is a diagrammatical representation of RAID level 6. Next we are going for RAID level 10, combining RAID 1 and RAID 0. So that is 1 and 0. It is possible to combine the advantage This is a nested or hybrid RAID configuration. It provides security by mirroring all data on secondary drives. Advantage: if something goes wrong with one of the disks in a RAID 0 configuration, it's very fast and we can recover it from somewhere. Disadvantage: half of the storage capacity goes to the mirroring. This is the combination of RAID 1 plus 0 diagram. Next we are going for the next question. 22nd question, explain the DMA method of I/O processing with necessary diagrams. So DMA method of I/O processing. So it differs from programmed I/O and interrupt-driven I/O. Direct memory access is a technique for DMA means it's direct memory access, transfer data within main memory and external device without passing it through the CPU. DMA is a way to improve processor activity and I/O transfer rate by taking over the job of the transferring data from the processor and letting the processor do some other work. This technique overcomes the drawback of other two I/O techniques, which are the time-consuming process when issuing command for data transfer and tie up the processor in data transfer, while the data processing is neglected. Next, it is more efficient to use DMA method when large volume of data has to be transferred. For DMA to be implemented, processor has to share its system bus with the DMA module. Therefore, the DMA must use the bus only when the processor does not need it, or it must force the processor to suspend operation temporarily. The latter technique is more common to be used, and it is referred to as cycle stealing. The diagram given below shows the DMA cycle stealing. So this is the diagram referring for the cycle stealing concept. Next is the operation of a DMA. When the processor wishes read or send a block of data, it uses a command to the DMA module by sending some information to DMA module. The information includes read or write command, sending through read and write control lines. Number 2, number of words to be read or written communicated on the data lines and stored in the data count register. Number 3, starting location in the memory to read from or write to communicated on data lines and stored in the address register. So this is the diagrammatical representation for the typical DMA block diagram. Okay. Next point is address of the I/O device involved communicated on the data lines. Configuration of DMA. DMA mechanism can be configured in a variety of ways, which are given below. Single bus dedicated DMA, and next single bus integrated DMA I/O, last one is I/O bus. So single bus dedicated detached is given below the diagram. Single bus integrated is given below. So from the diagram you can see processor, DMA I/O, memory. The next one is I/O alone. Using I/O alone, the diagram you can see here. Summary flows of using DMA by the processor. So this is the how we are representing the I/O module. Programmed I/O, interrupt-driven I/O, and the DMA. So here we can also see the advantages and disadvantages of DMA. Advantages: it allows peripheral device to read from write to memory without going through the CPU. It allows for faster processing since the processor can be working on something else while the peripheral can be populating memory. Disadvantage: requires a DMA controller to carry out the operation, which increases the cost of the system. Catch coherence problems. Our next question is 23 in part C. 23rd question, explain the concept of instruction pipelining. Instruction pipelining processing can be occurring not only in the data stream but in the instruction stream as well. Most of the digital computers with complex instruction requires instruction pipeline to carry out operations like fetch, decode, and execute instruction. In general, the computer needs to process the following. And then number 1, fetch instructions from memory. Number 2, decode the instruction. Number 3, calculate the effective address. Number 4, fetch the operand from memory. Number 5, execute the instruction. And number 6, store the result in the proper place. Each step is executed in a particular segment, and there are times when different segments may take different times to operate on the information incoming. Moreover, there are times when 2 or more segments may require memory access. So this is the diagram which is showing the concept. So fetch instruction from memory is actually this is like a flow chart. In segment we are having fetch instruction from the memory. In segment 2, decode instruction and calculate effective address. And next is branch. If it is S means we are going for update PC, then empty pipeline. And if it's no means we are going for fetch operand from memory. It is segment 3. And execute the instruction in segment 4. And next, if it is S means, next we are checking whether interrupt is occurring. S means interrupt handling. Next it is once again branching to update PC and empty PC, and if it is no means it's going to fetch instruction from the memory step. So those explanations given below: segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, segment 4. Okay, and this diagram also shows the overall pipeline instruction format. Here we are having input and S1, R1, S2, R2, S2, S3, and finally we are getting the output. Types of pipeline. It is divided into 2 categories: arithmetic pipeline and instruction pipeline. Arithmetic pipeline are usually found in most of the computers. They are used for the floating point operations. And next is the instruction pipeline. It is used for instructions apart from the arithmetic instructions, including pipeline conflicts, timing variations, data hazards, and branching. These are all the problems we are having. Also interrupts, data dependency. And next is advantage of pipelining. The cycle time of the processor is reduced. It increases the throughput of the system. It makes the system reliable. Disadvantages part: the design of pipeline processor is complex and costly to manufacture. The instruction latency is more. Next we are coming for the last question in part C, that is 24. Explain the process of micro instruction sequencing. So micro instruction sequencer is a combination of all hardware for selecting the next micro instruction address. The micro instruction in control memory contains a set of bits to initiate micro operation in computer register, and the other bits to specify the method by which the address is obtained. Implementation of the micro instruction sequencer. So this is a diagrammatical representation for the micro instruction sequencing. Here we are having instruction code, mapping logic, branch logic, multiplexer, control address register, control memory, subroutine register, and incrementer. Control address register, CAR. Control address register receives the address from 4 different paths. For receiving the address from 4 different paths, multiplexer is used. Multiplexer is a combinational circuit which contains many data input and single data output. Branching. Branching is achieved by specifying the branch address in one of the fields of the micro instruction. Then mapping logic. An external address is transferred into control memory via a mapping logic circuit. Incrementer. Incrementer increments the content of the control register by 1 to select the next micro instruction in sequence. Subroutine register, SBR. The return address for a subroutine is stored in a special register called subroutine register, whose value is then used when the microprogram wishes to resume from the subroutine. Control memory. Control memory is a type of memory which contains addressable storage registers. Data is temporarily stored in control memory. Control memory can be accessed quicker than main memory. And that is the end of part C in April 2015 University question of Computer Architecture.